Do we want to see Arnold?
Sure, and Carlos.
That's it, right?
Mayor, we're ready as soon as you are.
I'm ready.
Okay.
So good morning, everyone. I call this meeting to order at 9:01. If you can please stand and join me in the flag salute. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. City Clerk, can you take roll?
Yes, Mayor Lopez,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Ibarra,
Present.
Councilmember Davis,
Here.
Councilmember Menke,
Present.
Councilmember Gonzalez.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. City Clerk, do we have any changes to the agenda?
There are none.
May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll move.
I'll second.
Second.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Ibarra, seconded by Mayor Lopez to approve the agenda. Mayor Lopez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ibarra,
Yes.
Councilmember Davis,
Yes.
Councilmember Menke,
Yes.
Councilmember Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion carries.
City Clerk, are there any public comments?
There are none.
We will now go on to presentation item number 1.
Item number 1 is California Highway Patrol 10851 Grand Theft Auto Recovery Award. And Police Chief Miranda will present the item.
Hello. I think the lieutenant from CHP will also be presenting. He has the actual award.
Yes, Chief, we're enabling that right now. Thank you.
Okay. Lieutenant Mark, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Kind of low.
Kind of low. How is it now? How's the audio? All right, hold on.
Much better.
Much better?
Yes.
Okay, good morning, everyone. This is on behalf of Captain Salvador Suarez. I'm Lieutenant March Santiago with the California Highway Patrol in East Los Angeles area. And I apologize, I'm not a techie guy. I don't have my camera. And but on behalf of the California Highway Patrol, we appreciate the efforts of our allied agencies, Vermont PD, for the recovery of stolen vehicles, especially for returning it to the owners of these vehicles, and most importantly, for holding the people accountable. With me here, I wish I could show you, it's a 10851 pin awarded to Officer Patrick Cam, and it's from the Automobile Club of Southern California, with California Highway Patrol proudly recognizes Officer Patrick Cam first award for superior efforts in vehicle theft recovery, signed by the California Highway Patrol Southern Division Commander Mark Garrett and Senior Vice President of Insurance for Automobile Club of Southern California, Christopher Bagley. And with that, Officer Cam comes a 10851 PIN that we will be sending to your office and along with the certificate.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Madam Mayor, thank you, Lieutenant. Madam Mayor, Council. I'd just like to say again, how proud we are of Officer Cam's efforts and the auto theft recovery. The minimum standard is to recover 6 arrests, grand theft auto, and 12 recoveries in a 12-month period. So that's it for our city. That's a feat that takes a lot of work and proactive police work. So as your chief, I just want to acknowledge Officer Cam's proactive police work in the city of Vernon, and thank you. Thank you, Chief. This is my report.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We will now go.
Good work, Patrick.
We will now go on to item number 2.
Item 2 is increased use of groundwater, and Public Utilities General Manager Alamo will present the report.
Can you hear me, Lisa? I see.
Yes.
Something is happening. Good morning. Todd Dusenberry, Assistant General Manager, I will be making the presentation. Thank you.
Good morning. Can you hear me? Good morning, Mayor and members of City Council. Well, let me start the screen share. Can you see the presentation?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you. Good morning, Mayor and members of City Council. As requested at the previous council meeting, I am pleased to have the opportunity to present today on the topic of reducing our imported water use. Decreasing our imported water purchases and increasing our ability to pump Vernon groundwater has been the primary goal in the Water Division. The presentation this morning will briefly touch on where we've been, where we are currently, and where we're headed. To provide some relevant context and background, historically, maintenance was performed reactively when a water facility would fail. This approach, coupled with a lack of significant available funding, resulted in an overall state of disrepair across the system. Due to these factors, as you can see in the third bullet point, in June of 2019, we experienced heavy reliance on imported water with only 1 of 8 production wells in service. It was during this time frame that we approached the Business and Industry Commission and City Council with a capital improvement plan and a plan to pursue revenue bond funding in order to effectively address these issues. Historically, the Water Division has budgeted $1.2 million yearly to purchase imported water. As indicated on the graph, the division has made a concerted effort to decrease imports since the division came to VPU in 2017. Measurable progress was made the first couple of years, but with facilities failing, progress was derailed while repairs, rehabilitation, and replacement were performed. To give you an idea of where we are, in the current fiscal year, we have spent just under half of the historical budgeted figure on imported water. Thanks to completing 2 major projects in October and November, and with a third major project slated for completion at the end of this calendar year, we are projecting very little to no reliance on imported water. This is important because, as you can see in the final bullet point, imports are 3 to 4 times more costly than our groundwater. There's a clear relationship between the health of our facilities and our need to purchase imported water. The graph on this slide shows the ratio of imported water in gold and pumped water from our production wells in green. used to serve our demand over the past 5 months. With projects in progress and well 20 suffering a mechanical setback, imports rose to 28% in October. As projects were completed in late October and mid-November, imports have decreased to 0 and are expected to be very low or 0 moving forward. Today, 6 of 8 wells are in service, with the 7th well nearing completion this month. By mid to late 2021, the Water Division plans to place well 22, the first new well construction since 1989, into service. Once this happens, we will have 9 production wells in operation. This slide shows well 15 near the city apartment complex on 50th Street before the recent work and after the recent work on the right. The pictures on this slide give you an idea of the below ground piping as well 17 was pulled on the left so that new piping and equipment on the right could be installed. This slide shows the old electrical cabinet at well 15. Much of the contents were original to the facility that was constructed in 1966. Finally, this slide is an example of the workmanship involved in the replacement of the electric service, user interface, and wiring at the well 15 electrical cabinet after project completion. So in summary, the Water Division is committed to reliably pumping Vernon groundwater and performing proactive maintenance to preserve these facilities. As we head toward the future, BPU will have more pumping capacity than necessary to meet the current demand. This enables BPU to take facilities out of service for preventative maintenance without importing water. This enables the cycling of wells to allow downtime for recharge and replenishment of the water supply. It also enables us to lease or store excess pumping rights. As more CIP projects are completed and the system becomes more reliable and efficient, we will be capable of adding new water-intensive users to the system. We'll be capable of making cost-effective decisions when deciding which facilities to use. And we may even have the possibility of selling water to neighboring agencies. That concludes the presentation, and again, I'd like to thank City Council for the opportunity to provide an update on imported water use. I'd be happy to answer any questions if there are questions.
Todd, I'm just curious. I know that you looked into a lot of different funding options. How much was subsidized by people other than us, I guess is the best way I can put it?
Everything that we've spent so far to date on these projects has been funded by the revenue bond that we got in this year. And so that's been our main funding source so far, and will be throughout the course of the 3- and 5-year capital improvement plan.
I'm really glad you presented today. Otherwise, we never would have known. This is exceptional work, and it's putting the city in the right direction where we're going to be actually able to sell our water to other agencies. Not only are we, the $1 million we were spending is going to be saved, we'll be making money also. So I'm impressed. Thank you.
Absolutely. We're going to look into all those options as we move forward.
Hey, Todd, I have a question. Are we looking at creating more underground water storage to store waters or above ground water storage as we're starting to create our own water?
Good question, Councilmember Ibarra. So right now, we're currently not looking at any more water storage. The system was built really well with a lot of flexibility, a lot of capacity, and there was a lot more water use in Vernon in the early 2000s. So the system is sized for a lot more demand than we currently have. So we have plenty of storage. We're also in the middle of a master plan and operational analysis. So we're not only looking at what we need today, but what we need moving well into the future. But right now we're sized with plenty of storage.
Sorry, follow-up question. How's our water tank, that Brennan one that's over fire station, whatever it's numbered now?
Yeah. So the tank, when Kevin Wilson was here, went through some retrofitting, and they did some seismic analysis of the tank. And so currently we only fill the tank halfway. We're making improvements on the system so we won't need the tank in the future. Or should we need to do maintenance on the tank, that we could take the tank out of service. Structurally, it's in good shape, but we want to make sure that our system, we're not relying on the tank should anything need to happen in terms of maintenance or taking it out of service in the future. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Is there any further questions for staff on this item? Well, thank you, Todd, for the presentation. We will now go on to item number 3.
Item number 3 is coronavirus vaccine clinical trial update from University of Southern California Keck School of Medicine, and Health and Environmental Control Director Ajin will present the item.
Good morning. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Good morning, Honorable Mayor and council members. Today, we'll provide you an update of the COVID-19 vaccine clinical trial study that will be conducted by Keck Medicine of USC at the Vernon location. The trailers, as you know, for the study have been installed. It's been signed off for occupancy, turned over to Dr. Dubé, and it's actually ready to be used. So with that, I'm honored to introduce Ms. Mary Takuma Ferguson. Ms. Ferguson is a senior media relations specialist from Keck Medicine of USC, and she's here to actually present the recruitment and communication strategy for the vaccine study. Thank you, Ms. Takuma, for joining us.
Yep, happy to be here. Thank you, everyone, for inviting me to this and allowing me to present an update of what our plans are. So let me start this presentation. Okay. So just as a little bit of background for those who might not be familiar, Keck Medicine of USC is the health system that's affiliated with the University of Southern California. And we are working as part of one of the global vaccine trials in Operation Warp Speed. In particular, this is the one vaccine that was developed by Oxford University and AstraZeneca. And we have only recently begun enrolling patients at Keck Medical Center in Boyle Heights. There have been, some of you may have seen in the news that there have been some stops and starts with this vaccine in particular. So we have the green light to go, and we have, as of last week, started enrolling people at Keck Medical Center. One concern that Operation Warp Speed has and wants to prioritize is ensuring that all of the participants are, that we have a diverse cohort of participants. And this makes sure that this vaccine is effective in all kinds of communities. Just based on their genetic response to things, it behooves us and it's better science if we have a diverse cohort of participants in the trial. And then on top of that, actively finding communities that could benefit from having access to this vaccine early on. So because of that, we are collaborating with the city of Vernon to recruit workers from the local meat processing plants and factories that early on in the pandemic have been more hard hit with infections and exposures, and who could more greatly benefit from this vaccine. And as Freddie mentioned, that our trial site should be ready to go, hopefully in the next couple of days. So our goals for this next phase of communication is to encourage people in the community to volunteer, especially people who might be working in the plants and are at higher risk for infection, and people who live in their households, and encourage them to sign up, not only because it's good for science, but also good for their communities going forward, to build that diverse community of clinical trial participants. We also have seen that there's a lot of hesitation and fear about vaccines in general, particularly as this topic has been politicized, and because it's going so quickly. There are reasons why it's gone quickly, but the science still is sound, and it's going through the proper approval processes you would see for any other vaccine. Just because of the pandemic, we are focusing more on trying to get this through and speeding up recruitment. So, which is great, but we do want to address that fear in the community, not only for this clinical trial, but should any of these vaccines get approved, that they feel comfortable going to go get it. And then also, because there are so many vaccine trials going on at once, trying to educate the community about where things are in the process, and what it means when they see, some vaccine is applying for FDA emergency use approval. Does that mean that it's been fully approved? Does that mean it's been tested? And just helping to educate the community about what all of these headlines mean for them. So initially, when we launched this clinical trial, both Keck Medicine of USC and the City of Vernon put out a press release, and that got quite a bit of local media coverage. I included some of the logos here. And since then, we've still been getting calls, just checking to see how the trial has been going, especially because there have been some widely publicized stops and starts to this. And we do anticipate that the media appetite for the progress on this trial is still very high. So because of that, we would like to use that media interest as an opportunity to educate the public about what we know about the vaccine so far, as well as encourage people to sign up for the trial. So because the media interest is so high, one thing that we learned from last time is that we think it'd be best to streamline all of the requests into one specific media day. Tentatively, we're looking at December 14th. We think pretty confidently that's the day that the trial site will be fully set up, and we'll have a good number of participants already coming through. And it's also a day that we hope, if it's far enough in advance, that we can assign some scheduled spokespeople to be there on site or available through Zoom. But it's still not late enough, like it doesn't run quite into the holiday season. So we do think that there will still be a good amount of media available. Assuming that we do move forward with this specific date, we hope to distribute just a media advisory by Thursday, December 10th, to give media some time to plan and ensure that our spokespeople are available in advance. And then on the day of, I will be there on site just to help coordinate with media, and then also ensure that our patients feel comfortable and that they are properly consented. We do have specific media consent forms just to make sure that their privacy is all protected and nobody feels pressure to do anything that they don't want to do. And then also hopefully capture some photos and B-roll that we can distribute to any media that wasn't able to make that day. So we just don't have a slew of cameras showing up on any random day at City Hall and potentially disrupting anything. So the spokespeople that we have planned out, of course, we would like to have somebody from the City of Vernon. So Freddie and I have been talking, and Mayor Lopez or City Administrator Fandino, and of course, Freddie as well, could just depending on schedules, would likely be the most appropriate person for this opportunity. On our end, we have Dr. Edward Jones Lopez. He's one of the he's one of the investigators on the trial, and he's also bilingual, which is great for both Spanish language and English language media. And we are in the process right now of just securing consent for a few select clinical trial participants who are in the process of getting their vaccine or placebo injections, and have already expressed some initial interest and comfort in speaking to media about why they're deciding to join the trial. So some of the things that we do want to stress, joining the trial is helping advance our response to the pandemic. So the more people we get early on, the faster we can get through the trial and hopefully have the vaccine approved. And that the City of Vernon and Keck Medicine are collaborating to make sure that we have equal access for all local communities to access this vaccine. And that having a diverse group of people can help make the science better and ensure that this is a safe and effective vaccine for everyone. We also want to stress that participation in this trial is completely voluntary at any time. So there are risks inherent to any clinical trial. Thus far, we've seen that the vaccine dose has been shown to be safe and up to 90% effective. But if at any time people feel concerns about continuing with their participation, they can withdraw their consent at any time. But also, because this is a double-blinded trial, if you do receive a placebo early on, you will get the opportunity to get the vaccine at a later date. And I believe that that's something that date is still kind of in flux, just depending on how quickly other vaccines get approved. So with that, I would like to open it up to any questions or concerns from the crowd.
Hi, I have a question. I just wanted to know, what is the size of the target group that you're looking at for these trials?
Of course. So nationwide, it's about 30,000 people. But because there are so many clinical trial sites across the US, we're aiming for about 350.
And do you know where you currently stand in regards to how many people have signed up for the trial?
We've had quite a few signups. I do know that we are still actively looking to recruit people. We are screening the volunteers based on their risk and also whether or not they kind of fit some of the demographics that we are looking for to target in this trial.
Okay, I see 60 so far at Keck have signed up so far. Okay.
Yeah, so still plenty of room to go.
For sure. And how are you guys putting it out there? Are you directly contacting businesses, or how is it that you guys are trying to obtain the remainder of those needed for this trial?
Media relations is a big part of it. So by that initial push, we did get a strong response of people to volunteer at the COVID Prevention Network website, which was the major site for all of the Operation Warp Speed COVID vaccines and treatments. So there's a database there of people who have volunteered specifically for our trial, but also all trials locally that could be contacted. I am not aware of any direct outreach to businesses. I don't know if Freddie wants to speak to anything that we're doing specifically in Vernon.
Yes, Mayor, we did send out actually a direct e-blast email to our businesses in Vernon with that information from USC to enroll. And I think I saw a message also from Dr. Dubé, and I think about 8,000.
I did see that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, it's so exciting. Okay, well, thank you so much. Is there any further questions?
I do have a question. Make sure I'm on. What's the difference between your testing versus Pfizer and Moderna?
There are different methods of vaccines, and I would happily follow up, but I believe this specific vaccine is a weakened version of a coronavirus that will then mount an antibody response to future coronaviruses. I think the Moderna and Pfizer vaccine is something, it's like a different engineered, something with modified RNA that I am not at this point qualified to describe, but it is a different method of vaccination.
And Mary, I think Dr. Dubé is actually on the line.
Oh, is he?
So maybe he can chime in. Dr. Dubé, are you still on the line?
Ready, it says he's not allowed. He doesn't have rights to speak.
Oh, I guess he can't speak, so, Councilmember, we'll get back to you on that.
He's able to text into the chat.
This here. I'll be back to it. My plate at 10. My jacket on 10.
Okay, do we have any additional questions?
I do have one thing. I know that other council members have expressed interest in speaking, Mary. So we'll coordinate with our PIO and you and have the ability for other council members to speak at that event.
Of course.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We will now go on to the consent calendar. All matters listed on the consent calendar are to be approved with one motion. Items may be removed from the consent calendar by any member of the council. Those items removed will be considered immediately after the consent calendar. Does council wish to pull any items from the consent calendar? Are there any public comments for the consent calendar?
There are none.
Thank you. May I have a motion for consent calendar item numbers 4 through 9?
I'll move.
A second?
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Ibarra, seconded by Councilmember Gonzalez to approve the consent calendar. I'll call the roll. Mayor Lopez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ibarra,
Yes.
Councilmember Davis. I believe that was a yes. Yeah. Well, he's still muted.
Like, you're still muted, Councilmember Davis.
Just give us a thumbs up. Okay. Councilmember Benke,
Yes.
Councilmember Gonzalez,
Yes.
motion carries.
We will now go on to new business item number 10.
Item 10 is amendments to the classification and compensation plan, and Human Resources Director Earl will present the report.
You're on mute.
Can you hear me okay now?
Yes.
Okay, great. Good morning. Staff is requesting approval of 2 new job descriptions and associated salary ranges in the Public Works Department and Public Utilities Department. In the Public Works Department, there's a need to provide focused and concentrated efforts in the education and enforcement of municipal code provisions relating to community maintenance, zoning, and land use issues. Historically, these duties have been ancillary to other inspection staff, supplemented by occasional use of contracted services. In addition, the addition of this position provides a comprehensive and more focused approach to code enforcement matters, which ultimately improves the safety and appearance of the community. This is a new additional position that was not included in the 2021 fiscal year budget. However, there are adequate funds in the current year's budget due to vacancy savings, so no additional appropriation is necessary at this time. The second position is the establishment of the Utilities Program Analyst. This is a reallocation or reclassification of an existing position, the Stormwater and Special Projects Analyst position, the duties of which have largely been redistributed to Public Works staff. The incumbent has been assisting with expanded analyst level duties in the Public Utilities Department. Additionally, this position will focus on administration of the city's joint pole authorization agreements. In reviewing functions in the engineering division, these duties are more appropriately assigned at the analyst level and don't require the professional and technical expertise of engineering staff. There's no change in salary and no additional fiscal impact resulting from the approval of this new job description. The incumbent in the current stormwater and special project analyst classification will be reclassified into this new position. That concludes my report, and I'm available for any questions you may have.
Does the council have any technical questions for staff on item number 10? Seeing that there are none, are there any public comments for item number 10?
There are none.
Okay, may I have a motion for item number 10?
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion by Councilmember Menke, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Ibarra. Is that right? To adopt resolution number 2020-42, amending the classification and compensation plan. I'll call the roll. Mayor Lopez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ibarra,
Yes.
Councilmember Davis,
Yes.
Councilmember Menke,
Yes.
Councilmember Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. We will now go on to item number 11.
Item 11 is software as a service agreement with Tyler Technologies for a citywide enterprise resource planning ERP software system, hosting, implementation, and support. This item is continued from November 17th, 2020, and Finance Director Williams will present the report.
Yes, good morning, Honorable Mayor, honorable members of the City Council. Thank you for the opportunity to continue this item from last time. We have had two discussions thus far, recommendation of a citywide ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning System. And last time it was requested of staff that we come back with a little more information regarding funding options, allocation of cost between city departments, as well as the time span of the project. And that's what we will present in the next couple of slides. By way of review, the benefits as we introduce the concept of an ERP system. In short, what this solution does is this is a fully integrated platform that will span the full spectrum of every city department, as well as all city business functions. And it will do this in a consolidated database without taxing IT resources or requiring more IT resources for that matter. And what this will result in is process innovation, improved workflow, and ultimately greater service delivery to our business community. By way of review of the costs, particularly the one-time costs, we discussed last time the full implementation and license fees of just over 1.9 million. These are, again, these are one-time, and then we are, we noted there that there's a request for project management services. A separate agreement would be brought forward at that time if approved. And this is to ensure the success of the project as well as timely deployment. And then contingency of $312,000 for any unforeseen events that come up in the deployment of the platform. And then the $373,000 are recurring fees. That's SaaS, is software as a service. So this would be a cloud-based solution. And we note there that the consulting services, this was a question that came up last time. We don't, either the consulting or the contingency, this doesn't mean we have to spend this. This is just an estimation of the absolute maximum that these items might come to. So it's noted that the current fiscal year budget includes $900,000 in the general fund for the land use portion of this system, and there is a $160,000 grant to offset those costs as well. So the specific questions of council that we'll cover in the next couple of slides are this $2.4 million that will be phased in over the deployment that that will span several fiscal years. Also, for the shared portion of the system, so there are some components of the system, for instance, utility billing, that will be exclusive to VPU, and the health and land use, that will be exclusive to the governmental operations. But for those shared portions, budget, GL, disbursements, payroll, things of that nature, the shared cost between city funds and VPU is 60% for VPU, as well as 40% burden to the general fund. So that is the allocation between those two. And this is what the costs would look like as phased in. So the first phase, which will include the purchase of licenses that we don't already have, as well as core financials. We always begin there with budget and the general ledger, disbursements, and then a couple of others that will actually span a couple of years. So the total cost is just under $800,000 for this current fiscal year. So we're actually already budgeted for that in the general fund. The next year would be $771,000, and then the final phase, which would include utility billing, as well as anything left, analytics and reporting, training, and so forth, of $1.5 million the third year. So again, this was originally presented last time, I said from reserves, but actually what this looks like as phased in over several fiscal years is these items would just have to be built into the two budgets. And here's an example in our final slide of what that would look like. So this first fiscal year, the current fiscal year that we're in, the general fund would be $460,000, but we already have $900,000 built into it, the current fiscal year budget. So we would be looking at $334,000 to VPU. And of course, what is left over could be just continuing appropriations and cover the general fund for next year. Next year would be just under $500,000 for VPU. And then the final phase would be $915,000 for the general fund and $588,000 for VPU. And again, the total cost is not 60-40, it's 60-40 for those shared items. The general fund actually has more components because of some of the specifics that to city operations. And one final note, it was requested that we look into grant funding, and that has been done, and that was actually a previous activity to this project that has gone on over the this past year. And I can say that for city operations, these technology grants are very scarce. They're very difficult to come by. Most of the time, the grants that we see are specific to public safety, law enforcement, or the type of grant that we actually obtained related to land use. So, but at the same time, that doesn't mean that we will not continue to pursue those, as there are several years of deployment of this project. So we will keep looking. So that is a summary of the costs, and that concludes our presentation, and we're available for any questions or discussion or direction from the council.
Does the council have any technical questions for staff at this time?
Yes, I have a few questions. Thank you. Thank you, Scott, for this. Just curious. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Oh, you're piggybacking the contract off of the government. I forgot what that's called, but you're piggybacking it. Were there any opportunities to look for a different provider at a lower cost that can do the same thing?
Okay, so, it is Sourcewell. that we're piggybacking. And so we use Sourcewell regularly, particularly for public works. It's where we purchased a couple of our fire engines. And there is always the opportunity to look elsewhere. But this is the project flow. We began with an actual RFP where 3 firms were invited to the city and did present in person to the city. And several departments participated in this. So this was Public Works, IT, finance, admin, a number of us were all part of this, health as well. And when we looked at this portion that was being presented, because it was specifically land use, Tyler clearly offered the best solution for the city. As we started looking for a citywide solution, in these discussions, it was Tyler actually mentioned or presented to us the option of honoring the licenses that the city already owns. And from there, that's where the discussions began. Okay, let's look at a citywide solution, because the goal here is a fully integrated solution. And because we went through the RFP process and we looked at this, and it's a major component, the land use. So that's permitting, inspections, a lot of activity that relates to our business community specifically, including community facing portal for both the planning operations and accessing accounts, as well as payments and so forth. So that's kind of the way the process evolved. If we went out for a different solution, that would mean that we were deciding on a land use, having already looked at 3 respondent firms, all of which were competent, but none really offered this fully integrated solution that includes our public utilities, which is a very significant thing for the city.
And what was the cost between the companies that didn't specialize in the land use that you're stating versus going with this program, Tyler?
I'll have to, I can come back with that information. I don't have those in front of me at this time, but they were comparable as I recall, but we can bring that back to the council.
It's just, $3 million to upgrade our system just seems really, really high. Even piggybacking and reusing our licenses, I just feel it's just too high to upgrade our system. And in 3 years, we're gonna be back where we were. We're not gonna be as bad as we are right now, but technology changes every year. That's my concern, is once we spend these $3 million and in 3 years, amortizing it in 3 years, coming back to upgrade other systems, I want to make sure that we're going to get our money's worth for this. I understand the workflow, it's going to streamline everything, but there has to be a comparable system that's a lot less.
I would say that you can always find something less expensive, but would it provide for the best interests of a city of this complexity? Because this isn't just an off-the-shelf program. This is we're at a system right now that's end of life. It was deployed 10 years ago, and this platform, it's the same company. It is something that is continuously updated. So going to a cloud-based solution, this isn't just one version and then we're done. This is there's continuous research and development that goes into it. So I think that it's a different concept than building something or purchasing something that's a completed thing. In some respects, software is never a completely finished product because of continuously changing technology. So I understand the concern of the cost, but I would say that I've seen utility systems in our research. We a nearby city of Pasadena has a utility system that ran into the tens of millions. And yes, they have a lot of residential, so there's a lot of accounts, but that's just an example of these costs can go to a whole lot more than the 3 million being recommended. And again, 2 million is the software, 800,000 are the costs over 3 years to ensure project management and success of the project.
Okay.
I have a question. The current program that we're utilizing, you mentioned is about 10 years old, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how long of a life do you think that this new program would be for us?
My hope is that it will literally outlast all of us. Tyler is a large publicly traded company, and part of what I look for in the selection of a product is a firm that's going to be around. So if you took a small privately owned independent company and they have a really good product, there's a very good chance that they're going to be bought up. And I've had this happen about maybe half dozen years ago. I deployed a product that was a very close race with the Tyler product, and that very thing happened. They were purchased because they had a great product, and then it became part of a larger company. And so in this case, corporations can go on indefinitely, and Tyler is a very solid firm. It is a publicly traded company with no debt. So they're actually weathering the impacts of this, the economic impacts of the state of emergency quite well. So my hope is that this new product.
Scott, I think she's asking you, how long will the current software that we have in place right now, how long will that last?
The current software is end of life. It's just, I mean.
So how many years will Tyler support what we currently have?
They only have, they're not giving us a specific hard stop. They're saying that they have nationwide about 35 people who've been with the company a long time, who are pretty much finishing their careers, who support this product. And that's what we mean by end of life. So I don't have a guess. They're not telling us specifically that it's over in 3 years, but we just know that it is end of life, where they're not developing it any longer.
Right, but you said the current program has been around for 10 years for us, and then you're saying that the new program, we're going to have unlimited of updates, or how does that work? Or we're going to have to continue to pay for these updates?
No, you have your ongoing SaaS fees. That's a software as a service, because it's a different concept. This is not a product that's going to reside on our own servers. So we don't purchase it. We purchase the license, but the ongoing SaaS fees cover the upgrade costs.
Got it.
And that's something that just happens in the background.
Hey, just so that I understand and it's clear, this is all the upgrades to get us into the new system. But after 3 years going forward, and as it develops over the years, so that it doesn't die like this current system, we're still going to be investing in it and upgrading as we go? Or is it going to be sustainable for the next 6 years after that?
It is. Let me, on the early slide where I showed the cost, the $375,000 per year, those are the SaaS fees and the software as a service. So that means, and so at a certain point, we're obviously going to renegotiate those costs because their costs are going to go up. but there is a reasonable estimate of what we're looking at. So are they going to go up 10%? That's highly unlikely. There are many cities in the area who use this very product, and I myself have deployed this product as well. And we are not seeing the SaaS fees increase, in dramatic ways. They are going to increase, but that's what takes care of that the old concept of an upgrade. Rather than that, it's just it is the idea of continuously changing with technology, but that's something they're providing to us. We simply access it through a web browser.
Okay, so just to make sure, you're saying 819,000 for the consulting fee and the contingency reserve, which is 312. That's $1.1 million that may not be used, right, within the next 3 years. We're just budgeting it as an in case. So I would estimate probably 2%, 3% is going to be used out of that.
Of the contingency, my hope would be that none of it was used. That really is meant to be, oh no, something we didn't anticipate went wrong, or something that we just was not aware of, or as far as the consulting fees go, I estimated 1,500 hours per year. Again, I would like to, I would like to think we could use less, but the two things driving that figure, which is simply a calculation, is I want to the importance of getting this right can hardly be overstated. So I want to make sure that we do have adequate professional and very specific assistance to get that done. But the other is it may not, because that's just a calculation of hours. So it may not take that many, but I want to make sure that the requests that we're bringing forward, that we don't have to come back later having not planned for the worst.
Okay.
So basically, this is a purchase of like an intranet system, not a program.
It is, it's what we refer to as cloud-based.
Okay.
That's what a hosted solution means. So what this means right now, we have a system that is hosted on our local servers, and that's not going to be the case any longer. And this is the direction of a lot of our IT projects right now. We're the Office 365 concept. That is a cloud-based solution, and that's where everything is headed because of the really just economies of scale. A company like Amazon that provides the hosting solutions, we can never compete with them in terms of their ability to scale up and provide the kind of solution that really represents the future needs of the city.
Now with everything, finance, land use, everything going cloud-based, how secure is it?
Well, one thing I can say is the Tyler servers are hosted on American soil, and that's again that's a big deal. Just with the state of affairs globally, that's something that we want to ensure. But this is where I draw on the expertise of our IT department, because we are utilizing various cloud-based solutions. And so you have partners like Microsoft. I mentioned Amazon, very large, very secure. To say that nothing could ever happen, that's not realistic. To say that we're going with a partner where it is about as good as we can get. That's the way I would frame this in terms of security.
IT, let me ask IT this question. How do you think we're vulnerable in this situation if we go cloud-based with our finances?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
This is Mike from the IT department. So there is various security mechanisms that are in place with any of these cloud providers. Some of them have to do with the encryption between you and the web browser, such as SSL certificates and so forth. That's a very common practice. Anytime you access anything in the cloud, like your email, if you access like Gmail and so forth, there's security mechanisms in place that encrypt your traffic between you and the web browser. So companies like Tyler, they utilize these well-known protocols that everybody uses. In addition to that, within their data center, they also follow specific protocols for securing their data, very similar to something we would even use in-house to secure the information, so it's not just easily readable by anybody. So it's a very common practice for these cloud providers to secure multiple layers of access, how the user accesses the site and the data within the site itself. So security is not typically a concern when you go with a cloud provider like this. It's just like anything else. When you go on the IRS website to upload your tax forms and so forth, these are very common protocols that are in use to keep everything encrypted and secure.
Okay. Thank you.
Does the council have any further questions for staff on item number 11?
I just have a comment. I just want to make sure that I'm understanding this all. This is going to dovetail our system between departments, correct?
That's correct.
As well as being business user. The users can also look at their accounts, pay their bills. It'll be more user friendly.
It will be more user friendly both internally and externally. This represents a tremendous step forward, frankly, where I think we want to be as a city.
So it's going to make us more efficient in our departments.
Without question.
And it includes the VPU, which is a very specialized application, correct?
It does. And they're actually, the proposal includes a modification to make sure that that happens with the electric utility. They do all utilities, but we, just what you said, to address the special application of time of use measurement.
And then the difference being we aren't purchasing software, we are purchasing where somebody is hosting this application, which will be always updated. There's an application, what'd you say, service, the fee, of course, I mean, you have to pay for it. It seems to me that $3 million isn't that much considering we have a $300 million budget. It just seems like we're asking an awful lot, and it just doesn't seem comparatively with some of the other projects we've endorsed as consulting fees. It just doesn't seem like that much to me. And it seems like it's going to move us into the 21st century.
I agree with the last part. I know that there's always and should always be questions about cost, but I would just repeat to the council that this is a project, this hasn't been rushed into. I've been working on it since I've been here over a year. I started practically on day one. This is one of a number of projects. So, and it also has included every department in the city, as well as bringing forward my findings to the city administrator at every point of, hey, this is what we're thinking, and just evaluating what we truly believe is best for the city.
Well, if it improves my ability to pay my rent, because that's the least user-friendly program I've ever encountered. Maybe I'm embellishing a little bit, but it's not very good. So that would be my hope, that we would get something that's a whole lot user-friendly, more user-friendly for our businesses as well as for our residents.
Is the program going to allow the opportunity to be able to pay your utility bills and all of that online now too?
Absolutely.
Scott, real quick question. When we incorporate this program into our user-friendly website, are we going to upgrade our website as well? Just so that it's easy to find, because it is difficult to find, to pay your rent, to
And
pay your IT.
I would defer to IT on this, but yes, typically you want to either embed it or just put it up front and, click here to access utilities. So that is part of the process to really integrate to every extent possible. Again, the goal really is to make it easier to use and to access the data and the great things that a program like this is doing in the background.
Lisa, can you talk about where we are on the website and the RFP?
Yes. We issued an RFP a month or so ago, and we received 10 proposals, which we've been reviewing, and we'll be bringing a contract to finance in the probably next week. So we will be updating the website. We're very excited about it. We would appreciate any input that you have on things like where the utility bill paying function should be, and we'll make sure that it is far more user-friendly than it currently is. So,
Are there any additional questions for staff on item number 11?
No, I want to just say thank you, Scott, for this detailed report and all the questions I asked you. I just want to make sure, this is a good decision.
Are there any public comments?
there are none.
May I have a motion for item number 11?
I'll move.
I'll second.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Ibarra, seconded by Councilmember Gonzalez, to approve the software as a service agreement with Tyler Technologies for the ERP system. I'll call the roll. Mayor Lopez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ibarra,
Yes.
Councilmember Davis,
Yes.
Councilmember Menke,
Yes.
Councilmember Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Now we will go on to oral reports. City Administrator Fandino, do you have a report for us?
Yes, I do. Good morning, Honorable Mayor and City Council members. On November 21st, Vernon Police Department arrested a male on the 4800 block of 48th Street for an out-of-state no bail extradition warrant for restraining arrest. On the same day, they responded to 3800 block of Soto to investigate a hit and run. The single vehicle was overturned, abandoned, and fully engulfed in flames. Detectives conducted an investigation and located the driver, who confessed to leaving the scene because she had been drinking. The cause was submitted to the district attorney's office to file for criminal charges. On November 27th, responded to the 1800 block of 27th Street regarding a death report, and the investigation shows no signs of foul play. On November 27th, Vernon PD detectives noticed an activation of a portable surveillance camera placed on the 3800 block of Santa Fe. Patrol officers responded and arrested a male for a commercial burglary. After detectives conducted an interview, the suspect was charged with 5 previous burglaries and a prior grand theft auto. Chief, I don't know if you want to talk about the Christmas event and give City Council an update. Are you on right now?
I am, Carlos. Okay. Thank you for allowing me to just a brief update. We're really excited. Time is winding down. This time of year gets very accelerated for all of us, but we're gonna hit a home run here. So we're gonna make the best of what we can during this COVID situation. And some of our officers are working very hard. They came in on the weekend to work hard. They're gonna be decorating some of our front lawn for City Hall for a virtual drive-through and Christmas giveaway. We got our list from Vernon Elementary School for 11 needy families. And we have four different people who have adopted them. City administration with Carlos Fandino adopted a family. The PD administration adopted one. Miss Melissa Ibarra adopted a family, and so did Susie Ibarra. And we have, of the 11, that covers 4 families. The other 7 families will be sponsored by the Vernon Police Officers Association. So we're very grateful for all those who were able to help out this year. And it's going to be a really good day. It's going to be on December 16th. We will get you all the, we'll get you flyers with all the communication you need. So everybody's on the same page, and we'll be on the 16th with the soccer ball giveaway from 1:30 to 4:30. And then the needy family will drive through City Hall from 4:30 to 5:30. And then the residents will come through our light show and operate for Operation Santa from 5:30 to 8. If there are some families that cannot drive through from that period of time, the Vernon Police Department will drop off their gifts on their door, knock on their door, and leave. So we're trying to be as cautious as possible, but still provide for our kids during Christmas. And that's a summary. And I said, the flyers will be coming out to you soon through city administration. And if you have any other question regarding Christmas, I'm happy to answer any question you may have, but that concludes my report, Carlos.
Thank you. City council members, we did order you additional PPE here for those events. We did order you face shields and an additional PPE so that you can participate in those functions. Public Works Department, the Public Works Street Department recently renovated the street island on Bandini near Downey Road. This is the 3rd street island that has been renovated since October. More renovations will occur in the next couple of weeks and months. Renovations on the Bandini Island included updating the irrigation system, removing the existing dated landscaping and replacing it with more contemporary drought tolerant. So on your left, you can see what it looked like before. And then, do we have another picture of the after? There you go. And I think there's another picture. Nope, okay. So if you have a chance, drive by and take a look at it. It looks much nicer. VPU outages on Sunday, November 22nd at 12:15. VPU experienced 11-second outage on the Adeel 16 kV. The outage was caused by a bird coming in contact with the overhead lighting arrestor on Alameda and 51st Street. 60 customers were affected. The outreach events that you just heard about are just around the corner. So city admin will continue to send out updates to all city council member, and planning is underway with the event scheduled for December 16th. Please let us know if you do wish to participate so that we can coordinate appropriately. The next Vernon Housing Commission meeting will be scheduled on Wednesday, December 9th at 6 p.m. It will be held virtually only. It will not be an in-house meeting. It'll be virtual only. And then we have had an uptick on COVID cases here affecting city employees in the city of Vernon. So this last week, we've seen a rise in COVID cases. So we're reminding everyone to continue to practice safety measures, protect against COVID-19. LA County across the board is seeing record cases and hospitalizations, and we're trying to do our part to ensure that the public is safe, our employees are safe, and we can continue moving forward in a positive direction. So I'll keep City Council informed on my weekly updates of any changes as of right now, but we're keeping City Hall doors open to the public. We're asking that everyone enter in from the bottom PD level where you can get your temperature taken. And the second floor door will remain closed. We're limiting access to one door. We are also going to keep the doors open as long as we can so that we can continue to serve our customers and also move more to an online scheduling basis with customers that require permits or inspections. And then other than that, LA County fire transition, everything is going great. And we've had no hiccups. So I don't have anything further. I do need to schedule a new meeting with City Council for closed session. So I think we'll have to disconnect once we adjourn from this meeting and open up closed session in another meeting.
Carlos, I do have a couple questions. Number one, if people are afraid to go drop off and do payments, are we leaving the mailbox open to drop off payments?
The mailbox downstairs, it's to the left of the entrance on the bottom, is available, and Anthony Serrano from VPU does check the mailbox every single day. So it is available for residents to leave their payments in that box, and it will be processed accordingly.
Okay, and number two, maybe this one's Lisa's question. The book drive, can we still drop off books or is it ended? Can we extend it?
We'd gladly accept any additional books. The boxes are still at City Hall, so if they can always leave them downstairs at City Hall.
Okay, and then I saw a flyer about a food drive. Are we able to still drop off cans of food?
Yes, we can still. We're also doing the LA County Fire Department is also doing a toy drive and the food drive, and so those will still be available for drop-offs.
And food drive drop off at HR?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Okay.
I'll find out and I'll advise today.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, this is Michael. The food drive can be dropped off at HR.
Okay. Thank you.
And I think we have a pink patch video. Is that right, Chief?
Carlos, I'm not sure if it made it to the city clerk.
Oh, okay.
We'll have to send them we can send them the link.
Okay, we'll put it on for the next meeting.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay,
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I have nothing further.
Okay, we will now go on to closed session item number 12.
I need to report out, Ms. Mayor.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
Thank you, I'm sorry. The National League of Cities Summit was held virtually between November 18th and 21st of 2020, with pre-conference executive education sessions beginning November 16th, which I attended. The conference and executive education sessions addressed topics relevant to our community, including COVID-19 response, racial equity, economic development, driving sustainability, and public safety. The total cost associated with attending this conference and the executive education sessions was $250. And I thank the city for allowing me to attend.
Thank you. We will now go on to closed session item number 12. Thank you to everyone for attending our virtual meeting today.
Is IT going to send us a special link?
You should have already received it.
I can resend it, but it was sent yesterday.
Okay, I'll look for it. Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello, Nestor. What's the number on the closed session item? What was that? Hello? Well, I can't get, wait a minute. What? I barely know, and, okay, wait a minute. I adjust the volume. Okay, can you hear me too? So what's gonna happen with the closed session item? Email. I wonder
Can you hear us, Lisa?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay,
I have
Carlos.
the recording going again.
Okay, Carlos was just trying to get back in. Just a minute.
Wait, and then we're waiting for Councilmember Davis as well, right?
Yes.
So I believe Ernesto's helping Councilmember Davis right now to reconnect. Can you hear us, Carlos?
And Mayor, this is Arnold. Since this is only a report out and adjournment, it's up to you and the council if you wish to, I know we can wait for Bill. If you want to just, it's a quick report out and adjournment. So that's at the council's pleasure.
He's trying to get in though, right?
Yeah, Ernesto's helping him right now to try and connect.
Yeah, I'll just wait for him.
Okay.
If everyone else agrees, that's.
Okay, I have Bill on the cell phone, so he's gonna do it over the phone.
Oh, on the phone?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm just gonna hang on here on my phone.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, we are back from closed session at 11:01.
11:01, okay.
And Madam Mayor, members of the council, the record should reflect that the city council, with all 5 members being present, received a briefing on the 2 matters of existing litigation. There was no action taken by the city council and nothing required to be reported at this time. It's appropriate to entertain a motion to adjourn, or just to adjourn.
Without any further business, without any further business, I adjourn this meeting at 11:02.
Thank you all.
Everyone, bye.
Be safe.
Bye, be safe out
Thank
there.
you.
Stay healthy. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
11:06. Thank you, Carlos. Thank
Okay, bye.